Usyk, in the main boxing match of the year, once again defeated Tyson Fury and defended his championship titles that choice. In Walden, one and only one.
116-112. Unanimously.
Usyk rewrites this history. Usyk de Vichy outdoes Tyson Fury.
On points. And as for Russian propaganda, he sent it into a crushing knockout. A Ukrainian world champion that's even worse than blowing up all the oil refineries at once.
We all need to leave this place.
Propaganda pours into the ears of the common folk every day, telling them that Ukrainians are inferior, that they can't do anything, and that they don't even exist. And now, the whole world is listening to the Ukrainian anthem and giving a standing ovation to the Ukrainian champion. That's a really painful 1-2 punch, after which you should just end your career and run off to Venezuela.
Nightingale, I'm talking to you. Do you know how Goebbels ended up Soloviev? Hey, you probably know how Goebbels ended. According to some sources, he and his wife committed suicide.
Usyk is a particular irritant for Russians because for some strange reason they considered him one of their own. They attributed all his victories to Russia, almost personally to Putin. You know, like he's an Orthodox Christian from Crimea, so that means he's a serf by right too.
He's a Russian person because he's Russian by origin, he's Russian by language, he's Russian by culture. He, in fact, as it were, breathed Russian air. You can't find a single difference that would make Usyk in any way whatsoever anything other than one of us.
Except Usyk has about as much to do with Russia as Russians do with Orthodoxy and with Crimea. From the start, Alexander made sure to put all the hooks over the eyes.
Should I maybe somehow cover my ears? Tanya.
In the first days of the full-scale invasion, Usyk joined the Territorial Defense Forces. His own house in Vorzel was damaged by the orcs. Usyk's attitude toward the occupiers is anything but sporting. He helps our soldiers on the front lines and promotes Ukraine around the world. Because of this, he has been hated in Russia and labeled a traitor. Just consider the level of absurdity. They got offended at a Ukrainian citizen and patriot for supporting Ukraine.
You are outright liars. Lying to the whole world. You lie to the whole world and first and foremost to your own people. And you all live in this lie. Do you actually enjoy living in this lie? So go ahead and keep living in that lie. We don't want to live in a lie. We want to live and grow.
Do you realize how symbolic it was when Usyk raised Hetman Mazepa's saber above his head after his victory?
A hetman who fought for the freedom and unity of Ukraine 300 years ago. It is kept in the Chernihiv Historical Museum, brought here to remind the world of his struggle.
That name is returning to the global media sphere and will receive the recognition it deserves.
He is the most hated and cursed hetman for the York. And do you know why? They were also offended by him because he dared to defend the interests of Ukrainians, not the Moscow Tsar. That was a very clear message to the orcs from a Ukrainian Cossack. And the orcs lost it.
Let's start with the style. Playful dancing, easy defeating everyone, right? It's important for us to get rid of that. You get rid of it like this. You stand up. Bam! You throw both hands like this at the same time. Boxers aren't taught this, so he won't know how to defend against it. Do it 3 or 4 times, she'll start to clam up. In other words, his style will disappear. That's it, you won't be agile or light. After that, bam, 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 work him over. If, for example, you're not as strong as I am and can't knock someone out with 1 or 2 punches, just repeat it again. I assure you, 3 or 4 rounds of this, and even Alexander Usyk will be lying knocked out.
One of the first to speak out was the Post collaborator and Solovyov's lackey, Yulia Vityazeva. The ghoul and traitor Usyk was jumping around the ring with the saber of the ghoul and traitor Mazepa. Nothing surprising. Like attracts like. I wouldn't be surprised if next time he brings out a portrait of Bandera. After all, they have no other heroes or role models. Ugh. And this is written by Yulia Vityazeva, a former citizen of Ukraine who betrayed her own country, sided with the occupier, and calls for the destruction of her native city, Odessa.
I feel sorry for Odessa as a city. I feel sorry for the architecture. Yes, I feel sorry for the cobblestone streets I've known since childhood. The bridges and little bridges, the embankments. That's what I feel sorry for. If someone asked me now, do you want to go to Odessa? I'd say yes, on one condition.
You're sorry for bridges, not for people.
On one condition, that Odessa would be empty and completely deserted.
Because there are so many different things about Odessa and about the unique people of Odessa that I know I will never ever be able to forgive.
Russians are terrified by any successes of Ukrainians. Even the ordinary serfs were shaken by Usyk's victory. In Nowheresville, it's a day of mourning and sadness. There is no Kyiv in 3 days, but Usyk has 3 championship belts. Appreciate the irony. All the Vatniks and Z supporters were forced to root for the Anglo-Saxons. Usyk has done more than MI6 intelligence has in its entire history. Ironic. And after all, it's not just Usyk who wiped his feet on the sacred values of the great Russians and shook their confidence in their own exceptionalism. Before Usyk, the release of the Ukrainian game STALK ER2 steamrolled the pride of the Latino. This is... Just take a look at this. This is a cult game for many Russians. They were waiting for it like the second coming, but it turned out that the developers support the Ukrainian army and help fight against the occupiers. And STALKER 2 itself wasn't even released in Russian.
Absolutely, 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 absolutely.
In Russia, the game was immediately banned, and buying it was equated with treason. Propagandists started churning out videos en masse about how the game is bad and uninteresting, and that they don't really want to play it anyway.
And so when I look at the previews of STALKER 2 from Western journalists on YouTube, yes, just basic metrics, sorry, somewhere in about a day, IGN, well, that's the biggest portal, had around 200,000 views. GameSpot had about 50,000. On some other sites like GamesRadar, it didn't even reach 20,000. If we published such a preview of STALKER 2 on our channel and got 20,000 views, it would be an absolute embarrassment. It would be a clear sign that nobody cares about this game. Well, okay, I suppose this is honestly the very best Microsoft release this year.
Yeah, the most successful Microsoft release.
But it turned out that Russians are still buying STALKER. Neither bans nor even the fact that they have to play in Ukrainian stops them.
I don't get it. I just said, which one let's choose? I thought I'd be able to understand it by ear. I don't understand anything.
It's unclear why it's unclear to them. After all, they claim that Ukrainian is just a dialect of Russian, at the very least. Now those who have played STALKER too think differently. Who could have imagined that a shooter about the Chernobyl zone would become a promoter of the Ukrainian language in Russia?
Zdalovo, maybe that's Udo Dalovo. Was it a success? So have a good journey, stalkers. Yeah, right there. Yeah. Basically, the way to translate is, in your head, you try to figure out what the word sounds like, maybe something old Russian, and look for associations, any kind of associations.
STALKER 2 became a hit. Just in the first few days, several million copies were sold. And one huge anomaly called Russia got very upset because it had nothing to counter with. Well, there is of course the game Smuta, into which billions of pension funds were poured. But playing Smuta is like hitting yourself in the groin with a hammer, pointless and painful.
Everything related to Smuta is completely wrong in it. And it truly should never have existed in the form that it currently does. It needs to be buried deep in the forest and marked radioactive waste so that no one ever touches it.
An Oscar for a Ukrainian film, a successful performance at Eurovision, Olympic gold, all of that is like a whip across the brazen orcish face. All that's left for the fascists is to foam at the mouth and roll on the floor in a fit of envy. And no one is stopping Russians from being proud of their own achievements. For example, safes for storing butter or the world's first ATM fireplaces. After all, Russians can be proud of their patience. There truly is nothing like it in the world, and in that they are champions. to put up with a mad idiot who, just for fun and excitement, burns through hundreds of thousands of people and trillions of rubles, that is truly a monumental achievement.
Excuse me, may I ask you a question? There's just one thing that I'm really curious about. Did you go to vote on March 18th? If it's not a secret, who did you vote for?
For Putin. We don't have any other decent people left.
Russians love to loudly proclaim how proud they are of Russia, how great it is, and how all other nations envy them. But in reality, pride isn't something you need to shout about. It's something you need to feel. But this is a problem in the swamps. When there's nothing to be proud of, they try to claim other people's achievements or disparage them. Basically, that's how you can describe Russia's national idea.
Is that sad or funny or what? It's sad.
Russians have always hated Ukrainians for their successes. To that, you can respond with a slightly rephrased quote from a well-known Roman political figure. As long as they envy us, let them hate us as much as they want.
I would like to remind you that this video is created for entertainment purposes and contains elements of satire and irony. All facts and events are presented in a hyperbolized or exaggerated form to convey a comedic or dramatic effect. Our goal is not to mislead, but to highlight humor. Please take it with a smile.